Everything you have been told about aging is a dangerous half-truth. It is not just aging. It is an artery slowdown. Cardiovascular disease still kills about 17.9 million people a year worldwide, and the most effective 30-day longevity move is probably not a supplement. You feel it already. The afternoon fog behind the eyes. The heavy legs on stairs. The sleepy, swollen crash after a normal meal. That is not laziness. That is your pressure system losing flow. Then the name enters the room. Caldwell B. Esselstyn Jr., MD. A legendary doctor in his 90s. Former Cleveland Clinic surgeon. A physician who spends decades staring at the disease people fear most. Not in theory. In arteries. In blocked flow. In damaged vessel walls. His core message is brutally simple. The body can improve artery health when you stop assaulting the lining. When you stop feeding the friction. When you stop coating the inner pipes with metabolic residue. And in the next few minutes, you will see the one low-tech habit that hits this hidden artery problem faster than most people expect. It does not come from a bottle. It does not require a laboratory. It does not need elite genetics. Why do so many people feel old after lunch long before they are actually old? Sit with that for a moment. Because if your body feels decades older at 2 p.m., the damage is not waiting for retirement. It is active now. It is shaping your brain, your breath, your legs, your sleep. And if supplements are not the real first move, then what exactly is making your body feel older after an ordinary meal? The villain has a clinical name. Insulin resistance with downstream endothelial dysfunction. Now strip away the jargon. This is internal artery sludge. This is friction in the hydraulic lines. Your endothelium, the paper-thin lining inside every blood vessel, is supposed to behave like a non-stick coating. A Teflon layer. Smooth. Reactive. Able to release nitric oxide, the vessel lubricant that tells the artery wall to relax and open. When that coating is damaged, flow stiffens. Pressure rises. Delivery fails. Here is the microscope view. You eat a refined, heavy, ultra-processed meal. Glucose rises. Triglycerides rise. Insulin surges like a foreman screaming at a jammed factory gate. But the locks are rusty. Muscle and liver stop responding cleanly. So more insulin is released. More force. More pressure. The bloodstream turns crowded. Sticky. Sparks of oxidative stress strike the vessel lining like metal filings in a pump. Nitric oxide falls. The artery stops gliding and starts dragging. Not enough to feel like a heart attack. Enough to feel like fog. Enough to feel like stiffness. Enough to make stairs feel steeper than they should. That normal-looking dinner may be aging your arteries faster than you realize. The danger is not just what you eat, but what happens in the hour after you eat it. Blood sugar is only part of the ambush. The new threat is the vessel wall itself losing its ability to relax. Losing compliance. Losing flow reserve. Your heart can still pump. But the pipes stop answering. The brain receives less elegant delivery. The muscles receive slower fuel. The whole system feels bogged down. Like an engine flooded after bad fuel. One disease process. 17.9 million deaths a year. Read that number again. This is not abstract longevity theater. This is the main failure mode. And this is where standard medicine often reaches its limit. Medication can lower a number. Blood pressure. Glucose. LDL, sometimes that is necessary. Sometimes it is life-saving. But a lower number does not always mean the daily abrasion has stopped. If the meals still dump sludge into the system, if the evenings stay motionless, if sleep remains fractured, if the body lives under the alarm that never stops, then the upstream friction keeps grinding. Dr. Esselstyn's preventive cardiology lens is not social media wellness dressed as science. It is root cause pressure management. He sees the same pattern in the disease itself. Injury. Repetition. Accumulation. Pause there. The meal is over, but the damage wave may just be starting. Glucose and fat are still circulating. The vessel lining is still irritated. The gatekeeper key, insulin, is still trying to force entry into resistant cells. That sleepy heaviness after food is not a harmless quirk. It is a signal flare from the transport network. Once you see the hidden slowdown inside the arteries, the first fix becomes obvious and surprisingly simple. The first move is this: post-meal brisk walking anchored to a legume-rich, plant-forward routine. That is the low-tech habit that matters more than most people expect in the first 30 days. Not glamorous. Not expensive. Not rare. Walking after meals plus beans or lentils most days. That is the payload. Here is why it works. When you walk briskly, skeletal muscle starts pulling glucose out of the bloodstream like a backup generator coming online when the main grid strains. It does not wait for perfection. It clears traffic. It lowers the pressure on insulin. It reduces the after-meal jam. At the same time, repeated movement tells the vessel wall to release more nitric oxide, the lubricant that helps the pipes widen and respond again. Flow improves. Friction drops. The engine stops feeling drowned. Then the legumes do their part. Beans. Lentils. Chickpeas. Mung beans. Black gram. Adzuki. They deliver fiber, resistant starch, and dense plant compounds that blunt the violent glucose swing of refined food. They slow absorption. They feed the gut into making calmer chemical signals. They lower the metabolic noise. Think of them as absorbent sweepers moving through a dirty workshop, binding residue, reducing splatter, restoring order. Not a detox fantasy. A mechanical reduction in strain. This is what the protocol looks like in real life. Walk 30 to 45 minutes total per day. If that sounds large, split it. Use the 2 largest meals as anchors. 10 to 15 minutes of brisk walking after lunch. 10 to 15 minutes after dinner. Add more walking elsewhere if you can. The pace matters. Not a drift. Not window shopping speed. A pace that raises breathing but still lets you speak in short phrases. For food, aim for about half a cup to 1 cup of beans or lentils most days. Lunch or dinner. Better both if they fit. Build the plate around vegetables, greens, intact starches, and legumes instead of building it around refined flour, sugary drinks, and processed snack foods. Dr. Esselstyn's authority matters again here because this is not an influencer's morning ritual. It is medically grounded lifestyle cardiology. A practical routine designed to stop scraping the vessel lining day after day. Now the preparation hack. Do not rely on discipline at 7 p.m. when the body is tired and the kitchen becomes a negotiation. Batch cook beans or lentils before day 1. Wash and pre-select greens. Remove sugar-sweetened drinks and ultra-processed snack foods before the protocol begins. Put the walking shoes where the evening crash usually wins. No gadgets. No lab. No cold plunge. Just shoes by the door and a pot of beans cooling on the stove. That tone shift matters because many people are not failing from lack of knowledge. They are failing from friction in the environment. This sounds too simple to be real. That is the objection. But physiology does not care whether the fix looks glamorous. Glucose disposal improves when muscle contracts. Post-meal spikes calm when movement begins. Satiety improves when meals contain fiber and resistant starch. Sleep improves when blood sugar chaos is lower and circadian timing is less chaotic. The body responds to mechanics, not branding. Add the secondary supports. About 28 to 30 grams of mixed nuts per day, especially walnuts or almonds if available. If not, peanuts, soy foods, or sesame-rich options can serve the same broader purpose at lower cost. These replace refined snacks and deliver unsaturated fats and plant compounds that support vessel function and satiety. Then morning daylight. 10 to 30 minutes after waking if possible. This calibrates the body clock. It steadies appetite hormones, recovery rhythms, and evening sleep pressure. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep on a regular schedule. Not just total hours. Timing. A body that never knows when night begins keeps the cortisol alarm running. The alarm that never stops wears down the whole system. Then strength training at least 2 days a week. Nothing theatrical. Bodyweight work. Bands. Machines. Light to moderate loads done consistently. Muscle is not vanity tissue. It is glucose storage capacity. It is a larger warehouse for incoming fuel. More muscle means less traffic left drifting through the bloodstream after meals. Which matters more in the next 30 days, another capsule or what you do in the 15 minutes after dinner? Do not answer too fast. One is passive hope. The other is active flow control. If you live outside the Western supermarket script, this still works. You do not need costly health food packaging. Swap walnuts for peanuts. Swap canned specialty beans for mung beans, red lentils, chickpeas, black gram, soybeans, or adzuki beans. Swap bagged greens for bok choy, mustard greens, amaranth greens, or morena leaves. The chemistry stays useful. The routine stays local. The cost stays sane. Now the anti-list. Sugar-sweetened beverages. Ultra-processed snack foods. Sedentary evenings after large meals. These are not minor indulgences inside this protocol. They are counter-commands. Liquid sugar floods the system fast. Processed snacks concentrate starch, industrial fat, salt, and appetite confusion. Sitting motionless after a large meal allows the post-meal traffic jam to linger longer in the pipes. You cannot pour sludge into the pump at 8 p.m. and expect a 10-minute health ritual at noon to erase it. And if you follow this for just 30 days, the first thing that changes may not be your lab report but how your body feels tomorrow morning. You wake with less heaviness. The eyes clear faster. Breakfast no longer lands like wet cement. Lunch ends without that thick fog rolling behind the forehead. Stairs feel less hostile. Breathing steadies sooner. The body feels lighter because the flow is lighter. The pressure valves are responding again. Not perfectly. Better. Enough for you to notice. Those 17.9 million deaths begin in ordinary places. In kitchens. In chairs. In the hour after meals. In the quiet repetition of damage that feels small until the bill arrives. The same artery slowdown that announces itself as post-meal brain fog and heavy legs can be challenged by something as plain as your plate and your walk. You do not have to become one more number in that count. Your arteries are listening now. This is the real philosophy of longevity. Not chasing exotic hacks. Not decorating decline with expensive packaging. Restoring repair by removing friction. Giving the self-cleaning machinery room to work. Less metabolic sludge. Better flow. More resilient pressure control. The body is not confused. It is responding to the environment you build around it. And there is one evening habit that can silently reverse everything you just repaired. It spikes. Glucose stresses the vessel lining and hides in plain sight in millions of homes. That is the next protocol. Because the damage does not begin in old age. It begins tonight.